Now, many of you have already heard the good news about Wayne Couzens, the Metropolitan Diplomatic Protection Armed Police Constable, who was arrested on Tuesday night for the kidnap of Sarah Everards and then later arrested for her murder. He was found in his cell with what was described as serious head injuries, but was unfortunately rushed to hospital. The 48-year-old from Dill in Kent was reportedly found collapsed in his cell on Thursday, with reports that he was all alone. Bearing in mind that some media outlets described his injuries as serious, he was back in his cell soon after. Since his arrest, police search teams found what was described as human remains in a woodland area in Ashford, Kent, more than 50 miles from where she went missing. Yesterday, Chair of the National Police Chief Council, Martin Hewitt, said police officers join to keep people safe. So news that a serving police officer has been arrested on suspicion of murder has sent shock, anger and sadness across policing. All of our thoughts are with Sarah Everard's family and friends at this terrible time. But we never hear of a statement about how shocking it is when other police break their oaths or are arrested for assaults, paedophilia or sexual assault, all of which send shock, anger and sadness across the public. Since Couzens' arrest and the arrest of a woman in her 30s who's yet to be identified, a movement has started which included Green Party peer Baroness Jones of Moulescoomb suggesting in the House of Commons that men should be subject to a 6 p.m. curfew.
To create a curfew for men on the streets after 6 p.m, which I feel would make women a lot safer.
Seriously, a 6 p.m. curfew? Well, good luck with that, ladies, when the COVID restrictions are lifted and the pubs are open again. Who's going to come pick you up if that happens? Even Mark Drakeford, Wales First Minister, has said Wales could consider the curfew to help women feel safer. Well, let's hope it's put to a vote by the actual public before they implement some insane measure like this. Drakeford was asked by the BBC about the idea of introducing curfews on men in areas where there was concern of women being assaulted. He replied, "It wouldn't be on top of the list of things we'd consider because it would be, at the very best, a temporary intervention." After being pressed further, he added, if there were a crisis and you needed to take dramatic action that allowed that crisis to be drawn down, then of course you'd be prepared to consider all measures that would make a difference. People need to be safe and to feel safe, and that's absolutely the sort of society we wish to create here in Wales. Well, Drakeford, let's be fair. Everyone wants to be able to go about their lives without fear, women, men and children, because we all have something to fear when walking the streets. So making this all about women and that all of us men have to suffer the consequences of a few shit weasels is utterly ludicrous. Speaking in the Commons yesterday, Baroness Jones said,
"And in the week that the woman Sarah Everard was abducted and we suppose killed because remains have been found in a woodland in Kent, I would argue that at the next opportunity for any bill that's appropriate, I might actually put in an amendment to create a curfew for men on the streets after 6 p.m, which I feel would make women a lot safer, and discrimination of all kinds would be lessened."
So basically her woke idea is to discriminate against men to prevent discrimination. Yeah, that makes lots of sense, you nutty old. Instead of looking at men in society and branding us all a danger to women, maybe people should be looking into the other aspect of this particular case. The fact this cretine's arsehole was a copper. We already know from statistics that those in the police are generally more likely to be offenders of domestic abuse. I'm pretty sure it's not too many steps for that to spill out into the way that they deal with members of the public. And in fact, we have seen and reported many cases here on the channel where police have been the offender in a multitude of assaults, sexual assaults and other crimes against women. Now, although I feel for women who fear walking the streets, you have to remember that men and children are just as much at risk of crimes being committed against them, and you cannot simply punish all men. In fact, why don't we curfew women? After all, it's about keeping them safe, isn't it? Let's curfew all women from 6 p.m. so they can be nice and safe at home, while the man of the house does all the dangerous work, like going to the pub, going shopping, picking the kids up from after school clubs. You cannot simply suggest locking up men from 6 p.m. without looking at the alternative and how ridiculous this really is. Big thank you to channel supporters, especially these guys. Your support is truly appreciated. Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And of course, until next time, stay safe, look after each other, film the police and other officials.